Hi, I'm Johnny John. Today, let us talk about how to transform the negative ideas. So the suffering states of the mind is experienced when we are attached to negative ideas. So to release ourselves from suffering, we transform the negative ideas, and to clarify, transforming negative ideas is the same as releasing our attachment towards them. Now, there are many methods to transform negative ideas. And of course, you will find your own method on your own journey. But for any method to work, it must in some way develop self-acceptance. Because negative ideas are ideas which promote self-rejection. And to transform the negative ideas, we have to do the opposite, which is to develop self-acceptance. So the key to self-transformation is to develop self-acceptance. And naturally, self-acceptance is developed when you develop self-knowing. But let me simplify this process for you. Today, I want to give you a basic method so you can have an idea of how it is done, of the journey that you will have to make. So let's begin. So say if you discover a negative idea in your suffering experiences, say it is not okay to fail, you simply invert it to the potentiated idea, which is it is okay to fail. This will give you an idea of the journey that you will have to make for self-transformation. Remember, the journey is not about becoming a failure, but it is about developing self-acceptance, that it is okay to fail. And now, having the knowledge of how to establish a journey is already powerful enough. But how do we complete it? Well, first we have to develop the intention to complete it. So let us do that. Let us understand why transforming the negative ideas into the potentiated ideas can release ourselves from suffering. So let us use an example. Say that you just failed in a job interview, right? And if you just keep on dwelling in that negativity, if you keep dwelling in that negative idea that it's not okay to fail, it is not okay to fail, you're just going to continue to experience negative emotions, thoughts, and physical sensations. You will just continue to experience suffering. But if you are okay with failing, then you won't experience any negativities. So say if you are able to convince the mind just for a moment that it's okay to fail, you will definitely be able to experience happiness and relief from suffering. So you can try this when you experience suffering, to try to convince the mind just for a moment that it is okay to fail, to accept the opposite, the inverted idea. Just to accept the opposite of the negative idea. And if you do experience relief, it means that you have found the right negative idea in your experience. Now, of course, this will be very difficult because there will be a lot of inner resistance when you try to convince the mind of something different. We try to go against the mind's beliefs. That is, to go against its attachment towards a negative idea, it is not okay to fail. But realize that the more you come out of that negativity of dwelling in that negativity of failing, the more you will be transforming your mind of the habit of always dwelling in that negativity. That will stop the feeding of the negative energy towards a negative idea which sustains it. So just keep on trying to convince the mind. But of course we have to convince it in a natural way. So let us look at how we can do that. Now the mind is convinced naturally. The negative ideas are transformed naturally when we develop self-knowing. But what kind of self-knowing? Well, knowing about ourselves, of why we can't be in the state of self-acceptance in those moments. Why do we have to dwell in the negative ideas instead of simply accepting that it's okay to fail? developing the knowing of why there's a lack of self-acceptance is very important, because then we can know the ways to develop that lack. And then we can use life experiences to develop the self-acceptance we need to transform the negative ideas. For instance, if you realize that the experience of suffering is there because of a lack of self-forgiveness, then you can start using life experiences to develop self-forgiveness. So we're not trying to brainwash ourselves to accept an idea which we do not accept. We are trying to use life experiences to convince our mind naturally that it's okay. For instance, to fail. So developing self-knowing is very powerful because it allows us to discover the spiritual lessons that we can go through in life to accelerate our journey of self-transformation in a more direct way. So, in summary, negative ideas are transformed when we develop self-acceptance, and self-acceptance is naturally developed when we develop self-knowing. And, oh yes, also, you can ask yourself questions to uncover your spiritual lessons, such as, why can I not accept this potentiated idea? Why can I not accept that person, for instance, when I fail? Why can I not accept myself when I fail? How can I reach a state of self-acceptance when I fail? You can ask yourself many questions to uncover what you lack and the steps you need to take to complete your journey of self-transformation. So there you have it. This is the most basic way, the fundamentals of transforming negative ideas. Of course, there are hundreds of other methods. You can find them on my website, creationwithincreation.com. And I will also be talking more about them in my later videos. So I'll see you soon.